The Urban Oasis garden at Malvern has a very simple message. It's the contrast between the grey and the bleak, and the green, the lush and the verdant. This area demonstrates perfectly many of the environments in which communities are expected to live and even to thrive. Well, it's a great challenge, isn't it? Areas between buildings, particularly industrial and urban buildings, which have become derelict for one reason or another. The detritus of the previous history of the site, fragments of building going on and perhaps machinery, broken drains, graffiti, neglect. This is a space typical of many of the urban areas. But groundwork step in and they can transform these spaces into the most lush and ambitious and verdant spaces. One way of doing it is very simple, just using bulk bags. This is a way of coping with a space which perhaps the ownership is a little bit in dispute, or a solution doesn't have to be a permanent solution. It's very temporary, for a few weeks, months, or perhaps even a few years. Dropping a bulk bag of compost in and allowing a community to come together and grow whatever fruits, vegetables and herbs they wish to. It not only brings the community together, but it allows them to grow their own and enlivens an interest in the nutritious fruits and vegetables. It's remarkable just what a transformation something like this can have. It's not a glamorous, highbrow design solution, but it works. I've seen this firsthand in London, and the community were literally falling over themselves to claim a bulk bag and grow fruits and veg. There was great competition between them to work out who could grow the biggest, the most unusual and the best. Suddenly neighbours who perhaps hadn't spoken to one another were starting to communicate and starting to enjoy each other's company, and so the cohesion starts to develop between that community. With a little bit more time and a little bit more space, groundwork can offer a different solution, and that's represented on this side of the screen. This has been converted into a community orchard where fruit trees, apples, pears and nuts have all been planted to encourage people not only to plant trees, but to plant productive trees, trees where they can enjoy the blossom in spring and of course the fruits later on in the season. And that's underplanted with a native wildflower meadow, the red campion in full flower at the moment. And that's followed by things like the leucanthemum, the oxeye daisy, which will be in flower a little bit later on in the year, bringing insects, birds, butterflies into the community, a greater awareness of environment and sustainability issues. And then woven in amongst all of that is the idea of play, the idea that the community can come together and just enjoy being in this verdant and green space. This is specifically aimed at the younger generation, stepping stones which can be seats or they can be an area of play, just informal play to spark the imagination, or perhaps posts to weave through, balancing boards to migrate along, heading back towards the fire pit in the centre where, who knows, the apples that are picked come August and September can be roasted as fritters on the barbecue or the bonfire down there. And the whole thing is really represented by the silhouette in the wall over here. This is representative of the community stepping through from the bleak grey space on the other side to this lush green and optimistic space. Which one would you rather live in, the grey or the green? The answer is pretty straightforward, isn't it?